Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello, y'all. I'm Diana Brienne. We have Cynthia Dawson, Judy K. Martin, and Norgus are here. And welcome, welcome, welcome. We're going to give a few moments here to see who wants to jump on. Our topic today is older women rock, and not all older women wear diapers.
Right.
And I'm going to go over to my other computer and share this out. This gives Cynthia a chance to share it out, Judy and Norgus. And then I will be right back. Well, hopefully we have a few people that will jump on. Like I said, I didn't let people know. Welcome to Go Channel. Welcome. We were just getting started. US Never Them. Welcome. US Never Them. Thank you so much. And remember, anyone that wants to come up for a couple minutes and join our panel and shout out their channel is going to be welcome. So you just let me know in the chat if that's what you want to do, and I will put in the actual link so that you can jump on. But I'm going to go over here. Hey, Starkey Talks, welcome. I'm going to go over here and share the channel out. So,
oh wow, American Life in the Philippines. Hello, hello, Joe. Cook
here.
Go channel. Hey, Gina. Gina's out there. Us, never them. Hello. Look, man. Gina, I always think it's Sam Vanilla. Every time I look at Gina's, I think of vanilla. My eyes, I didn't poke myself in the eye. Oh.
Okay, let me see here. And I'm just sharing it out, Now, if you notice that we got a sudden burst of thumbs down, that means the trolls are here. Okay. Older women rock. We don't all wear diapers, but I'm not going to put that in. Let me go over here and do it here.
Girls Diary and JB Rants. Hey, JB Rants. And Bruce and Judy. Well, Judy, you're up here with us.
Okay.
Yuppers, Norgus.
Heidi and Manny and CSD.
Wow. Hey, Brenda. Brenda, can you mod? Can you, along with Gina, can you mod? I appreciate it.
And I am a mod, Diana.
Oh, great, Norgus, great. Y'all know that Brenda got the 70 trolls. She was blessed with all that watch time, and then Noni inherited all of her trolls, and then I got them last night on my recorded videos. So we don't know if they're going to follow us, all 70 of them, but they don't want to be called trolls. So I do have trolls, but they don't want to be called trolls. They want to be called aviators. So we'll call them aviators. And if they're being polite, we'll leave them on here. And if they're not being polite, we have to block them. But we wish them well anyhow. Bruce Davis, welcome. Girliest Diaries, welcome. Las Vegas Ann. Hey, Las Vegas Ann, are you going to come up here and shout out your channel today? We are going to put the link in a little bit so that everybody can come in. Hey, the Bee Lady, great, great, great. I just met the Bee Lady last night on, was it Gil's Z channel? I think that was what it was. So anyone who wants to come here, hey, Jason, welcome. Starkey, Bruce. If I don't call out your name, I'm not ignoring you. It's just when I take my glasses off, I can't see.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how are you ladies doing today?
I am doing great.
I'm doing awesome.
Yep, it's been an amazing day so far.
I'm just make it amazing. That's the, that's
right.
And make it amazing. I've learned how to decide what my day is going to be like when I go to sleep at night, and then when I get up in the morning, it just all starts to play out the way it does.
Well, you know what I'd like to hear? The last time y'all were on here, you talked about your professional life and what you do professionally. You want to share a little bit about what you feel comfortable about your personal life and who you are personally? Like, I know Cynthia owns a farm.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. I didn't know that, Cynthia.
Yeah. Missouri farm gal.
That's good. We're about to get chickens, so we're going to try to learn how to raise chickens.
Chickens are a blast. I love my chickens.
Yeah, and I don't work. This is what I do Monday through Friday. Usually 3 to 4 hours a day, according to how.
Your channel's called Norgasar.
Yes. And it's kind of like when you're ready to get off and wind down, then other people that's just waking up, then they come on. And I'm like, well, okay. And then so I'll keep going. And then by the time I'm through, I can't hardly move.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, so I'll share. I mean, we do live we have a small farm, but across the road, my parents have an 80-acre farm. So we're out in the sticks, social distancing has not been an issue for us. Just kind of the norm. I have 5 kids. Most of them are grown and out of the house now. Still have 2 of them at home. We do have chickens and ducks here. Several years ago, I decided that I wanted to start learning how to do things like my grandparents used to do. So every year I pick a project and I teach myself something new. So I make my own soap now, and things like that. So, we try to do that. We grow gardens so we can our food and stuff. So we try to do as much self-sufficient things as we can. So it's kind of what we do here.
So all of this didn't affect you like it did everybody else because you guys were already kind of self-efficient?
Yeah, really not so much. I mean, I got into this conversation with people on Facebook, and it's sometimes hard to get people to understand. I know that some people are out there hoarding stuff. They're going to stores and just buying mass amounts of toilet paper or whatever it is. But because of the way we were raised, you keep things in stock. So we buy flour in 50-pound bags and we buy sugar in 50-pound bags, so we're already stocked like that. So when the shortages and stuff started hitting, it didn't bother us. So.
Well, that's good. That's good.
Yeah. And I would say for me that this hasn't really affected me too much in any way. Yes, we've got restrictions about stores and things like that. And because I eat plant-based organic, I have a lot of farm supply places that grow organic, plus a friend who goes to my local health food store for me, just because I didn't want to, right? Not because it wasn't my choice, because we still can get into grocery stores. So it really hasn't affected me at all. I still see most of my kids, and it's at the same point in time where we're starting to move out of this. We've had a lot of restrictions lifted. So I think people, especially, we just had our May 2-4 weekend, which is our Victoria Day weekend last weekend, and the States has their Memorial Day. I think what it's done is revitalized people a little bit because the weather's nicer, at least up in Canada. And we're starting to feel less restricted. So we're starting to feel a little better about ourselves, which is already, and there I am always moving into my coaching counselor stuff, right? About people feeling better. But I can't, it's just part of what I do, is supporting and helping and inspiring people and helping them live their best life possible. So.
I think it's important, though. I think your mindset is a big deal. I don't leave and go to town very often at all. But then once they said, hey, don't, I was like, dang, I want to go to the bookstore. I want to get my mind,
And like with me, I can't drive very often because of medical and medicinal stuff. But it's like when this hit and I was told, you're not supposed to go. I'm like, the kid in me just like,
right?
Yeah. I want to go to the
What?
Dollar Tree. And my son would say, you don't need to go to the Dollar Tree because he doesn't like germs and stuff. And this has really made him, his anxieties hit the roof, you know. And with me, we've still come on and we've done this. So to me, all this is sociable. You
Yeah,
know,
right.
you know, I've been sitting down with the girls every morning for over a year now. It was in my kitchen. But so it's like we've all sit in the kitchen together and drink coffee in the morning. So you don't kind of feel like you're shut in.
Good.
Right.
But you better fed. When my mother-in-law one day I said, I wish we could go to Starbucks. She said, well, why can't we? I said, can you make it? Because she's on a walker and then sometimes a wheelchair. So she got out of the house first time in 3 months. And I call that live a woohoo. Call it my woohoo video, you guys, because me and my mother-in-law, we felt empowered. We went to get coffee about 30 miles down the road at a Starbucks, and they were closed. But I mean, going down the road, she held my my phone, and I was going woohoo, you know. We got out of the house, and I'm like, I told my son, I thought I should have counted the woohoo. But she and I had a blast, not even getting out of the car. We just got out.
Right.
And let loose. And she's 80. She's 80, I think.
Yeah. I think it's hardest, right? The hardest for the seniors.
Yeah.
I think it's hardest for the shut-ins, not understanding, especially if they don't have a lot of cognitive abilities left, to be able to understand what's happening. And not only that, a lot of seniors that live alone don't have family close by.
Right.
So it's really hard. So, you know, no wonder your mother was so happy to get out in August. You know, it makes so much sense. And I hopefully believe that over this pandemic that our communities worldwide have reached out to our community neighbors, especially the seniors and the people that are not able to maneuver around the community like they used to, which makes us more compassionate. And I think that's one of the big takeaways is what I'm hearing throughout social media is that they'd met their neighbors for the first time, or they cooked extra food and took it over, things like that. And that's what's changing our world. And that's a beautiful thing when that happens. It's, you know, no wonder your mother was so excited to be out and why you needed to talk about it, because it is a big thing, right, Norris? It's big.
Yeah, well, you know, me and her are shut in just about every day anyway. And my son there was a time that he was having to take me to doctors, her, and sometimes 2 doctors in the same day.
Yeah.
So, you know, so at least we live in the same house. So we're never by ourselves, one in one place and one in another. When it was real bad, we didn't want her to get sick because of her health issues. And I have a very low immune system and I didn't want to get sick. So my sister-in-law would, when it first started, bring the groceries and leave them on our front porch, and we would wipe them down before we brought them. You know, I mean, that was the hardest thing, is to just wiping everything down. We felt like,
Yeah.
but, you know, I didn't want her to get sick, so.
And the older we get, if you haven't looked after yourself, the more compromised your immune system is, which leads us into our topic today, right, Diana Brienne, about how older women rock.
Older women rock.
We do. And if you've looked after yourself, you know, medically, you know, physically, spiritually, emotionally, you're in the best time of your life. You really are. Like
Absolutely. Best time of my life.
Yeah. You know, and I have 5 grown children. The oldest is 47 or something, 40, I don't know what he is, 46, 45, 47, I don't know. And the twins are 36. And what a wonderful life I have now, because there's no running after them. There's no supplying for them. There's no demands on me. And it's like, this is my time to flourish in ways that I haven't been able to in the past. And I mean, I've been on my own many years. I mean, it isn't like the teenagers just became in their 20s, right? So I've had, you know, my own free time. But I think, you know, once you work through all your traumas and dramas, you become in this place like a butterfly. It's like, oh my gosh, there's a whole new world in front of me. What's that going to look like? How can I shift into this to be the best ever and live my best life ever? And I think when we get to that place, it becomes like, oh my gosh, this is so the coolest thing, is it not? And Diana Brannon knows this. I've watched her for 11 years, walking into a tree and wearing They're 2 miles high. You know,
Hitting the motorhome and hitting a curb with it. Yep.
yeah.
So the dishes all falling out.
And
Yeah.
I used to marvel. I used to think, oh my God, she just spent 2 hours doing her hair, right? And, and so we've come a long way since then.
We have come a long way. You know, Judy, you go way back with me when we bought the motorhome, and it was a 40-foot bus and we drove it all around the country and homeschooled our kids in it. And so you remember that, and
Yeah.
we go back a long, long ways.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so interesting when we look back about who we were then compared to who we are now. And
Yeah.
some of us, right, and some of us had to go through some major transitions and major drama and trauma to get there. But those of us that are called for higher things have gone through some major crap. And,
Yeah.
you know, right? And I used to say a long time ago when I didn't know who I was and couldn't find myself, I used to look up at this imaginary but real God and say, why the hell me? What's going on? Why did you choose me for all this crap? You know, why me? I thought I was a good person. Why am I abused? Why have I been in drama and trauma? Why have I been out in the street? Why did I have to raise 5 kids of my own? Why did my second husband try to kill me and the kids? Why this? Why that? Why that? Why that? And I remember getting an answer one day, and it was like, for the highest good. And I didn't understand it for a long time because I thought, why am I going through all this? Just to tell my neighbor about it? No. It was to be able to move through it, transcend it, heal it, to be able to help others, to be able to understand what goes on. And I say to a lot of people, my clients, I said, there's nothing that you have done that I haven't experienced except for a couple of things.
Yeah.
You know, there's a couple of things in this life that I haven't done, but anything else, I can go with you for the tit for tat, as they say, about, well, you did this, so did I. You experienced that, well, so did I.
Yep.
So this is why, you know, Older Women Rock is because we've done our time of healing.
Yep.
And still are. We're in constant transcendence. We're in constant movement. But now we can offer support to others. And we can say, right, we can say, this is what I've done to be 63 and healthy. You know, I don't have an ache or pain in my body. I'm on no drugs. I'm healthy, clear-headed. My pineal gland is clear. It's not calcified of anything. My intuition is there 100% of the time, every day. And like, hello, do women not want to know this?
Yeah.
You know?
I think it's important too, because, you know, it's like you get a mental image, you know, about what being older is going to be like. And you know, I got really, it was like a wake up call for me. You know, I've been raising children since I was 18 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at now, we got about a year and we're going to be empty nesters. And it's like, so who am I past that? You know, so yeah, it's a pretty amazing journey.
It is. And, you know, like you, like me, I've been raising kids since I was just turned 16. But, you know, it's about finding ourselves before we have to find ourselves. Because once we're empty nesters, sometimes the shock is so much because we don't know who we are and what to do with our days and what to do with ourselves.
Right.
And we've been told to worry and be concerned and do this and be a people pleaser and work, you know, from dawn till dusk. And all of a sudden we're sitting there going, well, now what? So,
You know,
right?
Yeah.
it's absolutely, because I had 2 months where, because one of the children we have here is a foster child. And so my daughter had moved out and he went back home for 2 months. And I sat in this house going, there's nothing. There's no arguing. There's no one to talk to. There's nothing. My dogs are just good, but they don't talk. And it was a rude awakening for that 2 months to be that alone all the time. Yeah.
Authentic Max, I am old. Authentic Max says, I'm sitting here like, don't count me old. I am.
No.
It's how we define old. I mean, we're all moving up that age bracket, and it's
I'm
how you
55.
define the world old. You know, how are you defining yourself as old or wise? You know, and not in decline. I mean, we decline from the minute we're born, type of thing, right? Like we start declining in years. So when we have a mindset of getting better and better and better and serving our purpose and our service and getting better and better, we never get old. You know, right? When you look at indigenous people in their villages, the elders are widely revered. They are the wise people. Everyone goes to the elders. Do the elders go up the mountain with the other people in the tribe? Yes. Do the elders carry down 3 buckets, one on their head and one in each arm? No, they may carry one, but they're useful, they're revered, they're wanted, they're needed. Their wisdom is so part of the village, because what that does is pass down traditions of how to live healthy. And not only that, they know when they're going to expire too. And they start to prepare and have tribal family dinners and things like that. They feel that they're getting older. They know that they're just about ready to leave, and they're not dying of the diseases we have. They die a very natural death, unless they fall down the mountain and hit their head, right?
Right.
Which can happen.
I used to sit and listen to my grandmother, but kids now, they're not sitting and listening to the like family culture, what happened and how we handled things. It's like they don't want to listen to the ones that are older. I loved listening to my grandmother. I love
Gotcha. I used to, when I was 18, I had just had my second child. My first husband left when I was 3 months pregnant with my second child. So I was 18, pregnant on my own, second child. I worked in a nursing home. My mother was the director, and man, I loved it. I loved to go in there and talk with these older people. There was a lot of people in the nursing homes that they put in there because there was nowhere else for them to go that were still of clear mind. And the stories they would tell me of their life, and they longed to have someone to talk to that revered them, that wanted to validate them, that would listen to their stories. And I remember at 18, 19, feeling like, oh my gosh, I just got a world of wisdom from these people.
Yeah, right.
And
exactly.
So last year, I've done television shows about the kindness effect. And last year, I talked to my producer about doing a show about seniors. And then I changed the name to The Wisdom Years.
Yeah, that's good.
Right, instead of the seniors, you know. When you think of the senior, you think of a cane, right? Or a walker. And so it was the wisdom years, and the wisdom years is all about revering the elders and bringing them back into community, because quite often as seniors, even at our age, at 63, Diana, some of these people are in a seniors home or in a retirement home, and they've got so much wrong with them.
Yeah, you know, my retirement home is going to be a motor home.
There you go. And so these seniors,
home, I'll tell you that.
I know. So these seniors that I talked to were people that were professors, teachers, doctors, lawyers of high criminal cases in the world. These are the seniors that we've tucked away. And it was like, I had this epiphany that said, why can't we bring these seniors out and utilize them for their wisdom and their talents and bring them and integrate them back into community? You know, so it's touched my heart always that seniors have been lost, forgotten. And here's the paradigm of this. This is what we do in today's society, not back 50 or 100 years ago. So we have a child, and as soon as our maternity leave is over, we put the child in a cement box, which is a daycare center, right? And off we go to a cement box to work. And then as our parents reach 50, 60, and there's something wrong with them, we put them in another cement box called a retirement center over here, right, or a nursing home, and our children are over here and we're over there. We're disconnected.
Totally
disconnected. And so part of this paradigm that's happening with this pandemic shift is giving us opportunity to reconnect again, to start to integrate back into community. And I see examples of that. So I'm so touched by that when I hear that, you know, and that's why we talked about how older women rock, because we can see what's happening and we can participate and sort of be a forerunner in this.
I think part of it's the mindset too. I absolutely refuse to use that O word. So if anybody asks me how old I am, I'll tell them I am a level 58 now.
I love it. I love it.
So, you know, my kids.
I'm 29 forever.
There you go. But you know what? This is what works, because my kids, you know, they play video games and stuff like that. And I've told them it's a game of life, folks. I'm winning. Okay. Highest level here.
So, you know what? If I said I'm 29, that would bring back awful memories for me, because 29, my husband was trying to kill me and I had 5 kids and blah, 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 blah. And so to me, my age is ageless, because when you look at the continuum of metaphysics or quantum physics, there is no such thing as time. So humans have put a construct together named years, days, things like that, and time for many different reasons. But if I don't age myself, unless it's for purposes like this, when people want to know how old we are and why we're doing it, the age is very useful. But I don't age myself like that, because under typical circumstances, the older you get, the more you have to fear, right? It's like, oh gosh, I'm going to be 80 soon. And statistically, what happens to 80 years old? But we forget that we're building a community of like-minded people where our health is going to be perfect when we decide to leave the planet, right?
Right. And that's why I do my channel, is to inspire those in this age group. You know, I'll be 63 next Tuesday, and not tomorrow, but the following Tuesday. And we'll do a happy birthday live, hopefully.
Yes.
I go back to college tomorrow, so my lives will be sporadic, but hopefully on my birthday we'll do one. But, you know, people think that 60 is old. You know, they think that they're old, and I'm here to tell people 60 is not old. I'll be 63. I dance every day. I run 5 miles a day. I just finished my 5-mile run, and I have 3 young adult kids, and I have a husband who's younger than me. I've been married 30 years, and to him, so he's younger, older. They think he's older than me, but yeah, you know, you just live your best life and be happy and make the most of who you are.
Yeah. Heck, most of the time I can't even remember what my age is. So.
Right. Well, you look wonderful, whatever age. So we're all.
But it's just like it was like Judy was saying, though, it's a mindset. I'm not focused on that. So yeah, sometimes I do have to stop and think about it, just because I don't care. My memory's not gone. I just don't care.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know when I care about it, when I go into our local grocery store called Zehrs, and as from 55 years and up, you can go in every Wednesday and get a 10% discount on flowers, food, clothes, everything. Wow. So that's when I go, yes, please ask me as I check out at the till, you know, the person who's checking me out, please ask me if I qualify for the 55 plus years discount today.
Yeah, I want those discounts.
Look, I did that to my husband because he's 4 years older than I am. So we were someplace once and we were doing something. And I'm like, hey, I said, he gets that senior discount. And he just turned around and he looked at me like, what? And I'm like, what are you talking about? You're a walking coupon. This is a good thing.
I love it. The walking coupon, right?
Wisdom TV Nigeria said that their mom delivered them when she was 55. Oh
yeah. My husband's
mom want to have start over. No.
My husband's mother was 48 when she had him.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I had mine early. I was pregnant at 15, so I had mine early. You know,
I wanted to be young enough to be able to keep up with them.
Well, I didn't know what I was doing because I had 3 husbands, so I just was looking for love in all the wrong places because I hadn't been taught. Yeah. I hadn't been taught to learn how to love myself and what to expect from a relationship. You know, I had an undiagnosed bipolar mom, and I had my dad who died when I was a baby. Mom remarried when I was 8, and he didn't know how to love an 8-year-old feisty girl, you know, so I didn't know what a dad was and what a relationship was supposed to be like, because we lived in a very small town of 500 people, and most of those were my dad's relatives, and they didn't like me and Mom because we came into a town and evaded their favorite man, right? Because his wife had died, and there's feisty Judy standing up for herself, and they didn't like us. So I was, you know, abandoned by a town, by relatives, and all I had was my mom, who was bipolar, and she was conditional love. With bipolars, it's conditional depending on what mood they come out of the room in. So I didn't know what that meant, like to love myself and have a loving relationship. So, you know, I went through so many relationships looking, as they say, looking for love in all the wrong places until you learn to love thyself. That's the hardest journey you'll ever be on, is going inward and loving yourself. It is the hardest because we haven't, most of us, a large percentage of us have not been taught how important that is, to put yourself first. And women have the notorious disease. We've had this disease for centuries of
People
people-pleasing
pleasers,
disease,
right?
right? People-pleasing disease. And we've never been taught to put ourselves first. At the end of the day, if you have a little bit of time left for yourself, then take it, but we don't. So we've had the people-pleasing disease forever and ever, and it has not served us any justice at all. You know, so when you start to come out of that, it's like refreshing to realize you can have a life and still serve community, right? Still serve community.
Yeah, Diana, she got at me about that. You have to love yourself. You have to ask for what you deserve. You've got to tell people, hit that bell, hit that thumbs up, come back, and she says, shout yourself out. She said,
Yeah.
Shout yourself out. By the way, anyone who wants to share me out, share us out, that would be wonderful. Just click the share button and push, put live stream in there and just push it out. And your friends will get to have the opportunity to come on too. So I truly appreciate anybody that shares this out. And because I have a hard time letting people know that I'm going to be on, because number one, I don't know what time I'm going to be on. And number two, YouTube tends to promote my live 12 hours after we've done it. So most people watch this in replay. But yeah, you're right. And for me, at almost 63, I went back to college, and B Lady says she went back and got her master's degree at age 50. Yeah. And you know, it's like you can do anything at any age. And I run every day, and I'm here to inspire. Judy's here to inspire. We're all here. Norgus is here to inspire. We're all here to inspire. And we're not here to tell people how to live their life or how to find it. We're just here to inspire them to live their best life, whatever that means to them.
Yep. And
I will stop. I'm sorry. I'll stop sometime and say, wait a minute, let me do what Diana told me to do. This is what I want you guys to do. And I always say, this is what Diana told me to do, because I get very nervous and fiddle with something and kind of look down, you know, not knowing how to do something for myself, Judy. It took me a long time, you know.
Yes.
A long
Hello,
time.
Christian Ivana.
Hello. And it doesn't matter, Norgus, right, how long it takes us, because who's judging us on that scale of how long it takes us to find ourselves, to get healthy or to become aware? We're our own judge. And if we listen to other people, then we become their prisoner, because they're the ones that are telling us what should be and shouldn't be. And we have been used to that from, number one, our caregivers when we were little have told us what to do and not to do. Right? And then next comes the school system, right? And then comes religion, and then comes politics, and then comes the media. So we're being bombarded all the time of who we should be and how we need to show up. And who the heck has ever said, I'm going to teach you to be yourself? Imagine that concept. I'm going to teach you to be yourself. There hasn't been anybody out there that ever taught me. I had to go seeking for it, because I was down. I was going to leave this planet. I was going to commit suicide. I had kids, but it didn't matter because I didn't have anything to live for.
Right. You felt overwhelmed. You felt like you had all this responsibility and no reason for it.
Totally. Right. So, you know, if we start to judge ourselves on I'm not healed, or it's going to take long, or it took this long, then we're not opening ourselves up to the complete healing to move forward. Right. And it's a journey. It's a hard journey. You know what I say to my clients, this is simple. It's simple concept, but it ain't easy in any way, shape, or form.
It seems like too, and you know, when you decide you're going to start stepping back and taking care of you first and stuff, then you got a bunch of people out there going, well, what are you doing? That's selfish. Why are you doing that? You know, and it's not selfish, but they'll try to make you feel that way, you know, because it's a new for them. They're not used to you just constantly being at their beck and call. And so it's an adjustment for everybody.
Yeah, it is. And I think not letting one of the Don Miguel Ruiz. Does anybody know who Don Miguel Ruiz is? Ruiz, R-U-I-Z.
Not sure, Judy.
So Google him. He's been around for eons. He's written many books, and one of them is called The Four Agreements. One of the agreements, and I'm going to paraphrase this, is don't take anything personally. What other people say or do is a projection on where they're at in their life's journey.
Mhm.
And it's right, it's the hardest thing to go through. So the bee lady asked Judy, why do us women always have to go through loving others first, hoping we will love them? Because bee lady, we haven't learned to love ourselves first.
Right.
And so I have quite a few analogies on filling thy own cup first. And I mean, when you get on a plane, what do your not stewardesses, they're called airline people, stewardesses or whatever they're called. What do they tell you? Right. What do they tell you to do first with the oxygen mask?
Put on your oxygen.
The child. Serve, put it on you first.
Yeah.
So you can serve the child, because if you're dead, you can't serve the child. So, the bee lady ask that question. Well, that's why we haven't been taught to put the mask on ourselves first.
That's right.
And we're always looking for validation outside of ourselves.
And being women, society says that we're caregivers to everybody first.
Yeah.
I fed my husband first. I fed the kids next. Moms are always the last to eat.
Yes.
So society from a child, as I watched my mom, it's just society tells women that you're supposed to love and do for everybody else.
Right.
I have to tell you something funny. When my kids were little, I rarely sat down at the dinner table because I was always getting up. So when I did sit down, I sat on the edge of the chair. So after my kids got a little bit older, I was visiting an elderly relative, and she said, "Why are you sitting on the edge of the chair?" And I thought about it, and I thought it went back to me having to get up and down, up and down, up and down. I just got in the habit of getting up and down. And because I was a mom, I am a mom, and my kids are, young adults now, but I'm always a mom. I'm never going to be their friend. I'm always their mom. Now I'm friend-like. I do a lot of fun stuff with my kids, but I'm a parent first.
Yeah.
And, but I'm also, like I told my kids, I said, it's mom's time now. This is time that mom takes care of mom. Although I always took care of myself, it's time that I put the focus on me instead of everyone else. And I said, it's time you all put your focus on mom.
Yeah.
And what's mom doing? Mom went back to college at almost 63 years old. Mom is out there running. Mom goes to the gym when it's open. Mom is living her best life. I want to be the role model for my kids so they know that growing older is wonderful.
That's right. And I'm back at university doing my master's right now in metaphysical counseling and sciences, so that I just have more behind me, so I know what it's like to be back in school. And yet I don't feel like I'm stressed, because they say the older you get, the less your brain works. That's a bunch of BS. I mean, if you're not healthy and you're not eating properly and you're not keeping your brain active, of course. What's that saying? If you don't use it, you lose it.
Right. So I use my brain every day. I get up and, my husband's 5 years younger than me, and people think he's older than me, but he's very physically fit. He's a golfer, so his body is just perfect. But they think in person that he's older than me. And because I take care of me, I'm not trying to look younger. I'm just trying to be healthy. And I think when you're healthy, you tend to look and appear younger. Although I'm very proud of being 62/63. Like Judy said, we're ageless. I'm stuck at 29, not because it was the best year of my life, because I've had, in every season of my life, I've had amazing times, and I've had challenges in every season. And so, but 29 was kind of like probably when I felt I looked at my peak. That was my LA days and all that. So I just kind of got stuck there. But I love being 60, almost 63. And I hope when I'm 80, I will be dancing and running and doing live videos and doing recordeds and still sharing wisdom and all that. And I want my kids to know that growing older is not a death sentence. When the trolls came on, what was it, 2 nights ago on Brenda's, and they said that, it was Noni's, I think, when they did that, and they said that old women wear diapers. old women, we don't wear diapers. None of us wear diapers. And so what if we did? I mean, we're going to live our best life, and that's what we're doing, and that's what we're here to promote. We don't want to be stuck. We want to be flourishing. So many people in life are stuck. They're complacent. They've resigned their life to what is. And I'm here to tell you, I get up every day and I'm energetic. I'm enthusiastic. I look for opportunities. And if there are no opportunities, I create an opportunity out of thin air. And I live my best life. That's what I do. And I'm going to, I have a husband, a gorgeous husband at age 63. I have 3 children that I love with all my heart. And I have many friends, and I have my health, and I feel so blessed, so blessed. And, but it takes work. Everything takes work. Everything good takes work.
You know what I think? We're not only just finding that with folks as they get into the higher levels. Our the grandson the other day told my son that he would really like to start learning how to play a musical instrument. And he said, well, then do it. And he said, I'm 18. He said, it's too late to be doing something like that. He said, my mom's 58 and she's teaching herself how to play the piano. So,
yeah. Oh yeah.
I think we do see that younger than we used to. It's like, oh, it's too late to do that. And it's like, if you're breathing, it's not too late.
And society, they act like you're supposed to dress this way or that way when you get a certain age. Look, if my son doesn't tell me to change my clothes, because he'll tell me in a heartbeat, Mom, you don't need to wear those. So he's very honest, he is. And I'm glad, because I'll go in there, because he lives here with us, and I'll go in there and I say, look, does this look okay? And but see, Cynthia, if somebody said you shouldn't at your age put turquoise in your hair, I love it. And this ain't my real color. My real color is blonde. I mean, it is almost white blonde. And I like red.
You know what? And the really funny thing about it is that, okay, so I didn't even color my hair turquoise. We actually colored it a really bright blue, because blue's my favorite color. And then it faded to purple, and then it faded to green, and now it's faded to this.
That's
and but I did have people that asked me, it's like, why'd you do that? And I said, I don't know. I just had never done anything like that before, because I was afraid of what people would say to me. And I decided that's silliness. So it will probably never happen again. But
I love your hair. I love it. I absolutely love your hair color.
Yes, it suits you.
I really do.
It really suits you. The
You're being authentically you. You're being authentically you. And people will be attracted to you because you're being authentic.
Yeah, even if you meant it to be a different color. So the bee lady says, Judy, if your studies are tilted towards Christian religion, no, metaphysical isn't Christian. It's a consciousness. It's an open consciousness of everything, bee lady. So I don't belong to any religion. So it's a spiritual aspect of many different ideas, metaphysical. So I hope I answered that question for you.
Can I just say, somebody just posted in there about their mom being afraid to be alone. And so I'm a mom with sons, and I'm going to tell you this. Well, it doesn't matter if they're sons or daughters. A lot of times it's hard to let go of your kids. We've been so geared to take care of you from infancy that it's hard to let go. But my
mom never let go. My mom never let go. Yeah.
Right. Well, yeah, don't let go. But
we are moms. We are moms. We're not friends. We're moms. We're parents.
That's right. But as long as you keep in contact with her and stuff like that, even if it's a 5-minute call every day, or every other day or something, it gets easier for both of you. It gets easier.
My son moved back home, and a lot of people was questioning him. Well, why don't you move out? Why don't you do this or that? And I told him, I said, just, answer them that, you're a caregiver. He wears many hats. He's his own person, and I like him being here, and I don't see nothing wrong, with
no.
if you're, because we moved in with my mother-in-law when my father-in-law passed, so she wouldn't have to be by herself.
I want to say this because one of my topics today that I'm going to do a video on is called "I am a parent, not a friend." And I know everyone has a different perspective. I do wonderful things with my kids. We go out and we go bowling and we have fun and we laugh and we do all that. But they know that I'm a parent. I'm not their friend, and I will always be their parent. And if they don't want to hear what I have to say, this is what I tell them: if you don't want to hear what I have to say, go find a friend and listen to what they have to say. But I'm your parent, and that's how it is. And I don't care how old you are. My mother was 74. My grandmother was 94. My mother was 76, and she listened to her mother. It doesn't mean we do what our parents tell us to do, but we honor them and we respect their advice. And so my kids will listen. They may not do what I tell them to do, but they will listen. And that's all I ask them. I don't ask them to do what I tell them. I ask them to listen to what I have to say, because I am their parent and I have their back and I am protective. And parents today are so mixed up and so confused. And they all think, oh, well, I want to be my kid's bud. I don't want to be my kid's bud. I want to be my kid's parent. And I don't care what age they are. And my husband said, well, our kids have got to grow up. Well, my daughter got her own apartment. And so she's kind of doing trial and error, making her own mistakes, and that's part of it. And my two sons live at home and they're very independent. All three of my kids have jobs. They go to college. They're very independent. And yet they know, Mom. My kids call me constantly. I have to take the phone off the hook when I do the lives because they're constantly calling me. Hey, Mom, what's up? They love me and I have a great relationship, but I am their mom and I'm their parent and I treat my kids wonderful, but they also need to treat me wonderful, and they do.
Yeah. And Jenny, I think it was Jenny put on there. She said that the worst part she thought was feeling like she wasn't needed. Yeah. And, I went through that a lot after my accident too. I felt not needed. I felt worthless. I was not the same person anymore. But you know what? You can go out and find things to do to be needed. You can't even imagine my lives I do every morning on Facebook. Absolutely awesome. I mean, I'm just showing you how to save some money on some makeup or, something like that. But, it's useful. People need to save money. So it's a thing. And then conversations like this happen. So there's something, you just have to find what your thing is.
Right. Absolutely. I've been a mom for so long and a wife for so longer than that, when my kids all, I homeschooled my kids. And so when that time was up and they went to college, even though they still live at home, the thing was, I never felt that empty nest or whatever, because I was so busy my whole life. I'm an artist, I'm a writer, I'm a runner. So all that stuff kicked back in. As soon as they were out the door, I went right back to college. And, at 62 years old, I went back to college. And so, I'm out there, I'm living my best life, and I plan on living my best life at every age. I have a very close friend. We consider her the grandmother. After my mother passed, she kind of took over the grandmother role. And I've known her for many years. She's 90 years old. She drives her own car, mows her own grass. And she is a tough old broad. She lives on the little island that I have a part-time home on. And she's amazing. I talk to her every night and she inspires me because she's out there. Her mind is clearer than all of ours put together. She is amazing. So you can be young forever.
What I told my daughter, I said, your dad had to take a back seat, because when I met him, my daughter was a year old. He adopted her. I was married, very bad marriage. And so anyway, so I raised kids. He took back seat to that. Then as the kids were starting their lives, it was like they were always needing something, or I had the grandkids. So I finally just told my daughter, and she will be 35 on the 31st of this month. And I finally told her, I said, look, it's time for me and your dad.
Yeah.
I said, it's time for me and your dad to enjoy ourselves. if we want to just lay in bed like Diana, like I vegged out, I vegged Saturday where the bed.
Oh, my bedroom's my favorite place. My bed is unmade right now, just to let you all know, because I don't want it made, because after this, I'll go lay down for 20 minutes or 30 minutes.
There come that time that if me and him want to just get up and go somewhere, we should be able to without any. But of course, my mother-in-law, we make sure she's okay. But we weren't going to be to where if my daughter called, well, can you watch the baby because I want some rest? No, it got to be like, oh no, it's mine and I love my grandchildren. Don't get me wrong, I love them. They're my heart. But I told my daughter it's time for me and your dad. And he's always that's been my best friend. 34 years. He's been my best friend.
And Norgis, I think Judy has also, beyond being a mom, I think you've also been a caregiver to a parent, right, Judy?
Yeah, and to my third husband as well.
Yeah.
So I know all about caregiving 24/7. In fact, it ruined me for a while because the second husband,
caregiver burnout.
The third husband. Well, it wasn't just burnout for being caregiving, because I was running a health and wellness alternative center. So I had all types of alternative health and wellness practitioners in my clinic. So I had chiropractors, naturopaths, massage therapists, yoga, you name it. And so I was running a whole center, a wellness center, about 17 part-time health and wellness practitioners. And he got into a very serious accident where he was dead on the scene, but they revived him. So what happened when he finally came home from hospital was he needed 24/7 care. So even though I had workers coming in, I had nurses coming in, I had all types of practitioners coming in, I knew that he would never work again. So I had to shut my wellness business down because I could not be at the health and wellness center and look after him. I had to shut my business down. And 6 months later, we knew he wouldn't work again. I had to redefine what was going to happen in our relationship. I had brought 2 of my kids home to help me run the household as I built a new business. And that new business was called Women Living Well. And it was about inspiring and motivating women professionally and personally. And so I started that business because I knew we had to bring in income. And I knew that I was good at that because I knew he'd never work again. So not only did that caregiving really wear me down, but don't forget I'm a health and wellness practitioner at heart. So I would have regular care, reflexology, massages, time out, things like that. I would bring in a professional like a PSW, a personal support worker, and I would leave for 2 days, things like that. But all of it just did me in because I had to start a new business and now make enough for 2 incomes. So the stress of everything. So, and that lasted 2 years. And that, I remember, I've always had coaches in my life. To be a good coach, you have to have a coach. And I've had spiritual business coaches and spiritual coaches, all ages. I have a spiritual mentor who's 80. And I remember them telling me once that, Judy, you have to always put yourself first here, even though your husband is 24/7. And I says, I know. And I says, now is the time to do that and shift into what's going to work for me and the family. And that was a hard time. So I know all about caregiving. And then my mother, who passed 2 years ago from Alzheimer's as well. And then I worked in a nursing home. So I know about caregiving and I know how important it is. And also more important than the caregiving is the caregiver itself. How does the caregiver look after oneself? And one of the reasons why I'm starting a new course again, well, it's not new, it's an adjunct to the one last year about self-care essentials. It's essential that you do self-care. And I don't mean having a massage once a week or chiropractor and pedicures. This goes beyond that, beyond into the spiritual, emotional, physical, and mental self-care. All of those that most people do not understand or know about. So I'm taking this course up to a higher level because let's face it, especially ladies that are in here, you're bloody worn out. You're worn out and you're tired emotionally, physically, and your relationships probably aren't really great with your children and or your partner. And you're probably in a place where you're frustrated and confused. So you have to start looking after thyself. And so I'm going to teach about that. The course is being put together. I've got my graphic artist doing graphics, and I'm putting together the content for it. And I will let you guys know if you hook up with me when that course, I call it a life-saving course because it will actually save your life in many different areas. But yes, back to your comment, Diana Brand, about caregiving. Yeah, I know all too well about it. And I know caregivers who have fallen apart, caregivers who went into alcoholism or killed themselves because they couldn't keep it up. When I first met, my mother was adopted. Her whole family was adopted out. So I first met my aunt when they were in their 50s. And my aunt had some mental health issues, like all of my family has mental health issues. And I'm going to diverse for a minute because my mom always used to say, Judy, it's hereditary, you're going to get it. And I'm like, oh, no way. Am I having mental health issues like that? Anyway, my aunt had a mental health issue and her husband was a caregiver for many years. Well, he shot himself one day. He couldn't keep it up. He just couldn't keep it up and there was no help for him, and or he didn't know where to look for help. So I can identify with so many people out there that are caregiving, whether it's for a child that's home, you know, or a parent or in-laws or people like in-laws that have to move into your home as well. If you're not equipped to handle that, it's rough. It is really, really rough on you because you're the last person on the list. So I want to help people be the first on the list so they can give more than they can give by not putting themselves first.
Yes.
Well, I felt bad when my son was having to take me back and forth to the doctor.
Oh,
And having to do it for my mother-in-law. And like I said, sometimes both of us. And I was having to go getting injections and such as that in my back. And it just got to where he did the grocery shopping and he was doing the housework and all that. And you're right. I could see it on his face sometimes. So
yeah.
he had a friend that he would go and stay with her for a few days. That's where he's at now. So, you know, I tell him, you know, son, yes, you need to get out of this house. You need to, you know, go somewhere.
Well,
Because-
caregivers never think they're doing enough because there's so many needs. Right? There's
Well-
so many needs in the person that is not being able to function for themselves. And it's needs of food, shelter, right? And then the other needs like laundry and things like that and places they have to go. And not only that, but the emotional needs of someone who needs a caregiver is so high that you can't cope with that because we haven't been trained to handle these emotional needs. Because never mind that we're not even handling our own emotional needs, but to try to handle someone else's is so hard.
Yeah, and he's bipolar as well, so it's kind of
Yes.
like, but you know, like you said, Mom, there's nowhere to go.
Yeah.
The group that are 30 years old, and he turns 31 Wednesday. The group that are in that age, they're doing things he's not into.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to party and drink now. That was when he was younger, but he's not wanting to do all that. He doesn't date because he does not like women, and the whole gay scene, he doesn't like that either. He's just, so if he can go with his best friend for a few days or a week, and they head to Florida or somewhere like that, and the best friend's a girl, and he's just not into that scene, and people don't understand that. You know, they'll say, well, why don't you get out there and date? He'll say, because I don't want to.
Right.
And society for him, they will just hound, especially women. Women of all of our age, they will hurry up. He gets along with women better. And they'll hurry up and say, well, you need to get out there. You need to put yourself out there. But no, you know, been there, done that.
Yeah.
Hello, ladies.
Hey,
Hi,
honey.
Gina.
Hey, Gina.
I
Family
wanted to add
entertain
I wanted
everybody.
to add something to your caregiving talking. That's what I did from my last 15 years of working until about a year and a half ago. And I'm telling you, it is so true that it is emotionally and physically the most draining job I've ever done. And I've been a truck driver. I've roofed. I've done all types of work. But on top of that, it's the most rewarding in a sense. It's kind of, it weighs both ways. You know, I did a lot of hospice care and Alzheimer's care the last 10 years, and bless their hearts, Alzheimer's people back away, their family backs away because they don't understand them getting mad at them or
Yeah.
not understanding who they are. And you become their mother, their brother, their father, their sister. You become everything that they ever knew. And they may not remember your name, but they remember you when they see you. And that was the most rewarding part, is to get them to smile, or just putting a hand on their shoulder and say, how are you today? Because I guess that would be affirmation. Just acknowledging that they're there was a big thing. And I dealt a lot with sundowners, you know, because sundowners is due to your brain working all day trying to get through the day. And as the sun goes down, you get mad, you get upset because you're tired. And that was nobody liked dealing with that unit where I worked, but that was my favorite unit, just to try to go where they are and be what they're doing. You know, there's been many nights I cooked dinner for the Pope. We had a Spanish lady that she said, the Pope is coming for dinner. Okay. All right. I'll make a spot for him at the table. And I put a little Mary candle right there. And she goes, okay, go let him in the door. And if you go where they go, or where they're at, join them in their journey, is what I call it. Join them in their journey and be a part of what they're doing. And that always put a smile on my face. But you know, or always warmed me, made me feel good to help them. And another thing is on the hospice side of it, a lot of people can't handle that part. You know, the family members don't want to be there. They try to be, but to hold somebody's hand is a privilege to me. And I feel like I'm helping them get there to where they need to go. And, you know, a lot of times I've been through 37 of them. And I remember each one to detail, and just holding their hand or singing a song quietly to them. You know, I've had them fretting, and just hold their hand and rub their hand and sing to them. They'll smile. And to me, that's a privilege. But it is the most emotionally draining job I've ever done.
Yeah.
Totally. And we're not taught how to refresh ourselves, how to recoup from that, right? We're not.
Yes.
We're told to give. And as women, we're naturally nurturers. And not only that, we're not told how to be at the end of someone's life as they transition over, and how to be okay with that, to allow them to be okay with that. And by example, we're worse with our pets. I mean, we take our pet in and we'll do anything, you know, keep it on lifeline surgery forever because we don't want to let that pet go. So we have a hard time with people because we're not taught that death is only a transition, that there's no such thing as a death. And how to connect with your loved ones, how to still connect, but on a different level instead of the human earth suit level, right? And so and this is why I love indigenous countries, where you learn so much about how they revere death, you know, because no one's ever gone, right? And so when they're taught how to communicate with them, it's just the most amazing thing. But you're so right, Gina. I mean, we are natural caregivers, and unless we're scared or we've been scared into death, the natural part of us wants to be with someone, but the emotional drainage part is huge because we haven't been taught how to fill ourselves back up. And
that was definitely what after 10 years of just the hospice part of it, it was hard to learn to recover. But I got to where I spoke to an Indian fellow. He lived right by me, and he said, "Why do you view death as bad?" Or he goes, "Because what you're fearing is the unknown." And he goes, "And to be there with somebody, to hold their hand, to be a part of it, is a privilege, and you should feel privileged to do that, to help them ease their way into it and to help them feel comfortable." And you know, that totally changed the game for me. I mean, not that I wasn't happy, but I was understanding what was happening and understanding, you know, what they're fearing. They may not know what I was told, so I try to help them through that. And I do regret that I can't work anymore, because I do miss being a part of taking care of somebody. I think that's why I have 5 cats. I got something to take care of, you know.
But Gina, you do it when people come on your show. I'm sorry, Cynthia.
No,
You
it's
do.
okay. I was just getting ready to apologize, but we have a storm coming in, and I got to get outside and get the beans planted before it gets here. So
Well, thank
uh,
you, Cynthia. Thank you so much. And
thank
remember,
you.
most people will watch this in replay because YouTube is not letting people know that I'm on unless I tell them. So, so you'll notice, remember, Cynthia Dawson's is called Redneck Pizzazz, or Cynthia's Redneck Pizzazz. It's all one word. And you can find her if you look it up. So thank you. You're amazing.
I ran
You
her
all
link.
have a great day.
Bye-bye.
I ran her links. I ran her links in the playback or in the chat. So
Thank
Oh,
you.
thanks, they are.
And Judy or Norgus, can you put Gina's stream in the chat? Because I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't think Gina, you probably didn't do it yourself. So if you can put Gina's
Yes.
in there.
I'll find
Let
it
me-
somewhere.
Yeah.
and
You
you
know,
ladies that
talk about being
and
a
you ladies
caregiver.
that
I was a
you ladies
caregiver.
that showed up for me, you ladies that showed up for me today during my second live, thank you. I was nerve wracked. I
You were
was
natural. You were a natural. You were a natural, Gina. And I love your lives. You know, Gina, one of the things I think that is going to make your channel huge is that you make people feel at home. You make people
Yes.
feel relaxed. You make people feel that there's alternatives to being under a house mortgage, or there's
Yes.
alternatives to what they're doing right now. You give people that feeling, and that's why you have still less than 1,000, and yet your numbers that come on your channel are amazing in percentage wise. And so your channel, I'm telling you, you will be a superstar on here. And
thank you.
you will
Judy,
be.
I was trying to find it.
You have
I
such
found it.
I do it just I started vlogging like when this pandemic started, like I said, and it to let my grandchildren know who I am in case something happens, and
Yeah.
so I have met so many wonderful people on here, and I mean, if you comment on one of my videos, I always comment back. I try, you know,
You do.
and
You do.
and it's like I find myself replying a lot during the day, and I love being a part of their lives like I love them being a part of my life, you know.
Thank you, Authentic Max. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. I see everyone on here. I just don't like to interrupt conversation to say hello to you, but I've seen everyone, and I thank you all for being here. You know, talking about being a caregiver, I took care of my elderly sick mother. She had Parkinson's and ALS, and I took care of her in my home for 3 years, and it was one of the hardest times in my life. I never looked worse. I never looked more tired. I was homeschooling my 3 small children. We were moving from Texas to Georgia, back to Georgia, and in the meantime, my mom was in California, so my husband had to drive out there, pick her up, bring her back through our move. My mom was falling down. It was horrible. She was in diapers, and I took care of her in a new town that she didn't have health insurance in. I mean, it was just, it was one of the most challenging and difficult times in my life. Never looked worse. And it definitely put stress on my marriage. It put stress on me. But yet I remained a wonderful daughter. I remained a wonderful mother. I remained a wonderful wife, but I was falling apart on the inside. And it was very, very, very tough. And after my mom passed, the ALS just debilitated her body, and she had to go to a nursing home. And after she passed, I was determined to never let myself get so worn down like I was. And ever since then, I've taken wonderful, wonderful care of myself. And I think Judy met me right at that time.
Yep.
So caregiving it's a tough road. It's one that I'm glad that I did. I've been a caregiver, as a mom. I've been a caregiver at times, to other people, and I've been a caregiver to my mom. And it is challenging, but it's also rewarding, like Gina said. And I remember, just being there for my mom at the end. I am so glad that I was able to do that. So glad.
Yeah, it makes a difference, doesn't it? It makes a difference because as hard as it is, you feel so much gratitude and honor. And I think, we have opportunity now as we talk about this more, to be able to teach people how to be at the end of death or the end of life for people, and how to honor it and be okay with it. But not just that, teach them about what happens, so to speak, when you leave this planet. There's never any death. Energy can't die. You are connected to the power that is, ever was, and ever will be. We are all connected to the same power, so we never die. We just lose our brain or ego and this earth suit, and we have the other form. But we never ever die, because energy can't die. And if we start to teach people this, then they're confident. Then what they can do is let go of the fear of always dying, let go of that word that I'm getting older, and try to stop aging and to start living. And you know, when you're not afraid to leave this planet, when you're not afraid to leave, you want to live. And
you're exactly on point. You're exactly on point.
When you want to live, you teach others how to live, and you teach the basic things of birth and living and then leaving the planet. And you teach them how to connect to the other worlds as well. Once we have that, man, we're good to go. But we haven't been taught that. You know, we have not been taught that in North America and other countries. So that's one of the downfalls of fearing death, and why people are escaping into so many different ways of escapism, because they're afraid of getting older.
Yes.
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 Mm-hmm. And I think Gina is a perfect example of someone who made a major life change. Well, we're all examples of that. But Gina's an example because she said, you know what, I'm not going to do this anymore and let it wear down my health. I'm going to make a change. I'm going to move into my van. I'm going to live life on my terms. And that's what you did, Gina. And look at your life now. You couldn't be happier.
Yeah, I feel good every day. And it was like making that jump, even though where I lived wasn't secure. I mean, I lived month to month, and, you know, rent is not cheap. And I was paying somebody else's mortgage, basically.
Yeah.
And I knew I was never going to own property or house, but I had enough when my disability came in to buy this. I had enough to jump into it. And that first night in it, you know, I was nerve-wracked making that jump, but it was all upward afterwards, you know, just, you know, I don't fear the things that I used to fear. And you know, even in fearing death or whatever, at that point in my life, you know, I almost died. My lips were blue the day I found out that how sick I was. I was working that day, and I knew then I had to change. I had to change everything, and I'm still working on my health, but without fear. You know, you just have to dive in. Hold your nose and dive. You know, go for it.
You just said the operative word is fear. We fear so much. We're in fear of our past, that it may happen again, and we're in fear of our future. And that stops us from living in the power of the now. Because 95% of your day is spent in fear and of the past and the regret, and the other part is in the anxiousness of what the future will bring. And we've never been taught how to live in this powerful moment right now. And that's something that I love to be able to teach people, because, of course, in order to teach, you have to have lived it. You know, I used to be called the worry queen when I had to take my, I think 4 children, because my oldest was 18, and moved from a small town to a big city, because I'd met my third husband, and he was a musician. And because he was in music studios and making CDs, it made more sense for him to live in the big city. So I took my 4 kids and schlepped to the big city. I had just graduated as an interior decorator. That day and that night I moved. I had written my exams, and that night I moved. And a month later, I'm sitting in our new place. And there's a whole story to that, but I'm going to synopsisize it for you. I got so angry. And I remember him coming in and said, "What's going on with you?" And I says, "I am so scared. I am so worried about things. This is happening, that's happening, and this is happening." And he says to me, "Judy, write it down on paper. Just start writing it." 2 hours later, 4 sheets of paper later, I hold it up to him. I said, look what I've done. Look at all the goodness I've done here. There's 4 sheets of things that I'm worried about and that I'm anxious about. And he looked at it and he goes, "What for?" And I says, "Because you're supposed to worry about stuff. You're a good person if you're concerned about your kids. And if you worry about your kids, you're a good parent. You have to worry about them being healthy. You have to worry about them having a good life. You have to worry and be concerned. And he looked at me because that wasn't a concept he understood, but it was something my mother taught me. You have to be anxious and worry to be a good person. You have to worry about the world's economics. You have to worry about your health. You have to worry about the future.
Right.
You have to be upset about the past because it's defining you now. And it wasn't until years later that I realized most of my life was spent in panic and anxiousness and worry and worry. And once you let go of that, you let go of every single fear that you ever have made up, because fear is false evidence appearing real. It ain't real because thoughts become things, and that's a whole other subject. But when you, Gina, when you let go of that and you take a stand, your whole new world.
You guys, I've got to go. I have enjoyed today, Diana.
Norgis, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you, thank you,
Bye,
thank
Norgis.
you. Thank you, my
Judy,
bye, Norgis. See you soon.
Bye, Norgis.
Bye.
Judy, you're exactly right. And fear caused me to live life in a bad way before I became old enough or was sick enough to realize that I need to change that. I mean, even as a mother, I was a single mom, and my daughter, she's a wonderful kid, but I was always feared of something happening to her, or constant fear, and fear that I couldn't keep my job to keep a roof over our head. And it caused me to do things in my life that I wish I would have done different now. But, I have to live with no regrets now. But I try to make things different, and when I learned that death is only a snap away, and losing your job can be a snap away. But if you sit and worry about it, it's going to make it definitely happen quicker. That all that worry is so bad on your system. And I was the true queen of worry, like you said. I worried if it was gonna shoot, I'd worry if a plane was gonna crash in my house if I didn't have something else to worry about.
Right, exactly.
I was horrible at it.
I grew up around worriers. Everyone that I grew up around was a worrier, except for my grandpa. He wasn't a worrier, but everybody else, they worried about everything. My mom was a worrier. She was the biggest worrier. I mean, she would worry about everything. And, I grew up around people because of their desperate childhoods, Great Depression. They just felt that they needed to worry, that worry was a protective mode that they lived in. And I knew that I did not want to inherit that. I did not want to be a worrier. I am very proactive in my life. I'm very guarded in my life. And yet I do not worry.
Yeah.
Right. That's and you don't realize that you create problems for your children when you worry that way. You create that habit within them. I think I caused my daughter, she has a little bit of anxiety sometimes, and I think that maybe all my worrying caused that, but she's a smart gal and very strong-willed, and I have beautiful grandchildren. I'm so proud of her. I mean, that's the one thing in this world that I know I did right, having her. And but learning how to control that worry is a big thing. And it became the day they told me that, hey, Gina, only 25% of your heart works. You need to change. I started thinking, okay, I got to change. I got to do this or I'm not going to be around,
Yes.
Well, worry produces disease in the body of all types, right?
Yes,
Right.
I agree.
And disease, and I can make disease DIS/EASE, so the dis-ease of the body. And stress is the cause of all death and illness. So when we're stressed with worry, guess what? We start to show up with different ailments happening in the body. And being in my past a healthcare practitioner, I saw this all too well in my health and wellness center as well. So looking after thyself is the most important thing we could ever do. But it takes a decision to want to do it, because we're not trained to do it. We're not told to do it. We're told to be there for everybody else and to strive and to stress and to grind and push and push. And then what do you hear when someone's 65, 70, when they're done their job, they have a heart attack and die, or they get cancer and go through 5-6 years of nothing but pain and agony and wear and tear and stress on the family that's there trying to support them. And then, they have maybe one good year, and then what happens? They die of a cancer again. So none of this needs to happen in today's day and age. And that's part of the part of this new world that's beautifully unfolding with all of that, which is a whole other 10 streams to talk about. But the worry is that worrying about the past doesn't change the past, because the past is no longer here. Worrying about the future doesn't even make sense, because you're not a crystal ball lady, a gypsy sitting there with a crystal ball who can't really read the future anyway. So, but you're taught that. But how do you bring your mindset back? Well, I've worked with coaches my whole life. You have to have someone that understands and supports you to do that. It's really hard to come back to something by just wanting to do it. You ought to work with people who understand the process, who have been there, done that, And it just makes sense. And I've always had coaches in my life, and will continue to have them. So.
Right. I was raised by my dad, and he was a natural warrior. He was an old cowboy, a horse trader. But he had no idea how to raise a girl, but he definitely had a lot of mental issues. I know, worrying, and as he got older, a little senility, but he definitely caused that within me, and caused me to be a warrior. And so that's why I didn't realize till I got older but that's why I realize now that I think I caused stress for my child, as I was such a worrier, and being a single mom and everything being on me, I was just worried I couldn't do it. And in reality, I could, I just didn't think I could.
That's right. You didn't think you could, because you were never taught and supported that you could.
Right.
Your parents only did what they knew how to do.
Exactly.
After raising 5 kids on my own, would I raise them totally different from what I know today? Yeah. Totally.
But you did the best you could at the time. You did the best you could. As a mom, I was always worried about my children, always worried. And that was the one, I had to learn to deal with that. Even now it's easy for me to worry about my kids. But I just have to, let that go.
Yep.
Right.
You do. And there comes a point in time when our kids have to be put out to pasture to be adults, so to speak. Right. And we haven't been taught that. We've been taught that we have to do things or worry about them. And that's, again, a whole other topic, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, ladies, I do have to go. It's been an hour and a half of pure pleasure.
Thank you, Judy.
Nice seeing you.
Gina. Yes. And, I don't know how often I'm going to be on here, because tomorrow I start back to college.
Yes.
Yeah.
Almost 63 years old. I start back full time. My classes were full time. They're very hard classes. So I'm going to have to squeeze any lives in between if I do one. So I don't know what times. I don't know how often. I do my recordeds daily. I do those. That's a given. But as far as doing the lives go, I don't know if they'll be, they'll just kind of be at the spur of the moment. So I may say, hey, Gina, hey, Judy, can you come on? And if you can, that's wonderful. And if not, I understand. And, but like I said, I don't know how often I'm going to be on live. I love being on live, because you really get to see people in real time and get back and forth in real time. And I appreciate you both so very, very, very much. So yeah, I appreciate it.
And I will do live soon. I just don't have enough subscribers yet to be able to.
How many do you have, Judy? How many do you have?
Let's go have a look here. I've got, let's see, 302.
Wow, Judy, but you started off with 18, didn't you, with me? 18 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago, about 3.5 weeks ago, Judy, I said to Judy, Judy, come on over to YouTube. I mean, we've been friends for 11 years. You need to go over to YouTube. And it can be overwhelming in the beginning, but I said, you've got to come over here. You've got to bring yourself over. So with her 18 people, her 18 friends on YouTube, she came on over, and now she's up to 302. So you're on your way. And I've watched Gina grow from 400. And, many people, I mean, in 4.5 months, I went from right around 200 to over 6K.
I know.
Wow.
6K in 4.5 months.
Brianna, it's your hair. It's your hair. You just come on to see what hair is she going to wear today. I love it.
Right. Always something different. always something different with me. But I also think that, one of the things I didn't do, and maybe I should have, but I didn't do, is I didn't listen to anybody because I didn't have anybody to listen to.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I came on here, I put out way too many videos every day, and I was way too friendly and way too this and way too that, over the top. But you know what? In 4.5 months, I don't know many people that go to 6K in 4.5 months. So doing everything wrong technically got me here.
So in other words, you did everything right. You did everything
That's
right.
right.
It's the marketing people, the ones that have studied marketing on YouTube, that are telling you to do certain things certain ways. And you know what I teach very well with my clients is listen to your gut.
Right.
Listen
And
to your intuition. And you did.
Yep.
You
I
did.
don't want to hear too much. I'm on here every day, 4 or 5 videos. They're because I'm here to share my wisdom. I'm not here to tell anyone how to live their life. I'm here to inspire, and I tell them how I live my life. And I just feel that that's my gift, and I'm here to share it freely. And I come on, and so 4 or 5 videos, which is way more than most people ever even think of doing. And then I can't say that I'll do that all the time, but for right now I am. And I've been over the top. And I come on here with Grandma's Porch, and you see my life, and I let people see my life. And that's just how it is, like Gina does, like you do, Judy. And by being authentically you and doing things your way, you will find your success. And that's what I tell people. I didn't have anybody to mentor me on this. I didn't know anybody that was doing this. I just came over and just started putting up videos and started going around to different people's channels and talking to them, going on their panels, and people started coming my way and saying, "Hey, I love what you're about." And I've got a couple friends on here. One who's actually been on my Facebook for about 10 years, right about the same time as Judy. He has over 3 million subscribers. 3 million. Over. I'm not going to mention his name here, but he's probably one of the biggest YouTube channels out there. And he's amazing, but it's his content. Right. He didn't have to beg for subscribers, his content. And so my content is, I think, what draws people back. The same way with Judy, the same way with Gina. It's the content. We don't have to beg for people because they want to come back. Once they see us, they want to come here.
On any kind of entertainment, whether it be a movie or a song, if you can make somebody feel something or cause them to feel something, should I say, like a feeling of happiness or a feeling of emotion, some emotion, or they learn something or they can relate to it, I think that's where good views come from, and good people subscribing to you. Because if you can get them to laugh or get them to feel or learn something, even if it's just one person a day, you met somebody that you helped out, or you give them a minute of happiness or a minute of hope or whatever. And that's what I try to do. I just try to be real with them and talk as much as possible.
And you do, Judy. And I mean, Gina, you do, Judy and Gina. And I think being real is where it's at. I really, really do. And I think that you have to be authentically you. I am not going to be anybody else. I am just me. And there are going to be people that love me and people that don't like me. And my channel is not for everybody. It's for certain people who are drawn to hearing my daily insights, and other people that don't want that, then they shouldn't be here. I'm not for everybody. I'm not everybody's cup of tea, but I'm somebody's, champagne.
Right, there you go.
Okay, guys, on that note, thank you.
Thank you. And Bruce, I see you on here, but we're getting ready to go up, Bruce. And my next live, I would love you to come on and sing happy birthday to me, Bruce. Okay?
Oh, I want to sing happy birthday to you too.
Yes, well, we're good. That's next week. So I don't know if I'll be on here before next week, other than on my recordeds. But Bruce, I would love to have you on here next week, and hopefully you will sing happy birthday to me. And Gina, you get your harmonica out or your guitar, and we're gonna sing happy birthday because I will be turning the big 6'3". Remember, we're gonna rock. We women rock. Remember, we rock. We're here to rock. And we're going to rock and keep it rocking. Rock on.
Rock on.
Rock on, everybody.
Did we have any trolls, Gina?
I didn't see any of the last look I went in on.
No, and there's no thumbs down that I see.
I'm amazed because I had, they all came over to my channel last night, but I think they actually, believe this or not, they actually treated me with great respect. But they weren't nice to my people, and that's where they I booted them off. But they actually, I think they really got something from my channel. But there were 70 of them on Brenda's, and I got quite a few.
They're aviators.
Yeah.
Yes, the aviators.
Unreal. But I deleted the comments because they were rude to the people. They were actually going through each comment and from people and being rude to them. Like they called one person an old man, telling somebody they need to wear diapers and you can't do that. You can't do that. And so, we're all here. We're all beautiful. And if a troll wants to come on here, as long as they're respectful, they're welcome to. They didn't want to be called trolls. So I'm not going to call them trolls anymore, but I do have trolls. And, but if you're rude and you're going to people's channels, I don't know what else to call you, a punk or something. There used to be a word called punk. Remember when we grew up, they didn't call them trolls. They called them punks. And so, anybody that bullies someone else, or a bully, a bully. And so we don't, that's, my channel is not about that. But if they want to come and be respectful, that's wonderful and amazing. Judy, you're wonderful. Gina, you're wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Love you both. And I'll see you all soon.
You will. Bye for now, everybody. Bye.
Well, everybody, I thank you for coming on here. Thank you for your comments. I noticed every one of you, and I truly, truly appreciate all of you. I don't know how much I'm going to be on here. Like I said, I'm back in college starting tomorrow. I will be on here with my recordeds daily. I make new, fresh recordeds each and every day. I just don't know how often I'll be live, but I do hope to go live for my birthday, which is next week. And you all can come on here and sing me happy birthday. Well, I am going to go, and I was going to the gym, but I just found out that they only opened up the pool, and so they didn't open up the machines, but I did my 5-mile run. So may God bless you. And so from my house to your house, may God bless you. And I hope to talk to you soon again. And thank you for coming. Bye-bye.